Good morning to you, St. Lucia. Thank you so much, as always, for joining us. We're coming to you live from the studios of the National Television Network Government Information Service. That's the NTN at GIS. I'm Mr. Joseph on this Thursday, and we are drawing closer to one of the most important occasions on Ireland. And speaking about our independence anniversary, it is our 43rd year that we are celebrating our sovereignty, celebrating the fact that we are an independent nation. We are determiners of our own destiny, if you will. Homer DeMark is alongside me on this morning. Homer?
Good morning, Lisa, and good morning to you.
Does that resonate with you?
What's that?
Determining your own destiny?
That's an interesting question. I think so. I think as much as it's not completely up to you, you do have a part to play in it. I think so, yeah. I would say that.
Yeah, I agree with that. These things, the debate is always very, very hot when it comes to independence, and is there quite a thing? No one can be independent. No man is an island, this sort of thing. But you state that right, Homer. It's a multiplicity of factors, but by and large,
there's so many things that go into it. And I think when you think of the debate that no man can be independent, I saw something, I can't remember what I was reading, and then I saw the term political independence. And it clicked for me that, when we're celebrating independence, that really is what is the reinstatement of a government for St. Lucia that is, outside of being under the crown. But you understand what I mean?
Yes.
But when you think of countries who are even republics, there are bilateral agreements that, you depend on other partners. And as much as, yes, I think it's good that we can stand on our own 2 feet, I think it's also important that we we accept the linkages, we create the partnerships, we look to the investments, because that's how we grow and develop. And if you look at it on an individual basis, as much as you leave home and you set out on your own 2 feet, there are times that you call home and you say, Mom, I need your advice. Yeah. Mom, Dad, I need your help. And so I don't think
and that doesn't take away from your independence.
It doesn't.
And certainly it's a question about, again, that sovereignty, about being able to make certain decisions, being free to express who you are culturally, and all of those things. And so it's always an interesting debate, but we are going to be celebrating that come February 22nd, everything that independence brings with it. And certainly I love the idea of nationhood and being able to just be a people, and to redefine that, if we will, because we are living in an era, and COVID-19 has certainly highlighted that we are now in an era where we now must redefine so many things about our existence, let alone what is normal. We are at the cusp of something very, very interesting, and so we will get to see how, as a nation, we find again, Homer, that footing in what the world's new normal is right now with COVID-19. And speaking about that, let's get up to speed with what our local situation is.
Sure. The Ministry of Health, Wellness and Elderly Affairs keeping us informed of our COVID-19 situation yesterday, confirming a total of 122 new cases of COVID-19. Those samples were processed on Tuesday, 15th of February, from a total of 507 samples, of which 472 were processed at Ezra Long Laboratory, and 35 samples were processed at Laboratory Services and Consultations Limited. These samples were collected between the 4th of February and February 15th, and this number of positive cases makes 22.9% of all samples processed on that date. Confirmation was also received of the recovery of 249 individuals diagnosed with COVID-19, bringing the total number of active cases to date in country to 1,191. So we do see a steady decline in our active cases in country. Currently, there are 26 positive cases of COVID-19 persons admitted at the respiratory hospital. 2 of them are severely ill. Vaccination continues today at the Moshi Wellness Center as well as the V4RC Parish Hall between the hours of 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. So if you're looking to be vaccinated today, these are the places that you visit: the Moshi Wellness Center and the V4RC Parish Hall. Speaking of independence, Lisa, we're in the midst of our celebrations. The Independence Baton is making its way steadily around the island. It's the Canry's ancillary Suffer leg today, so we see it progressing nicely around the island. And I've just been following a few of the feeds that you see pop up from the various communities. I like to see the participation, and I think it's really symbolic of our theme this year. I was just looking at some pictures this morning of Sufre as well as Canry's people getting ready for the baton, getting ready to participate, the spectators. And I felt like it really embodied the devant ensemble.
Yes.
That aspect, celebrating our people being the other part of that. And there are a number of activities set for today on our independence calendar as well. So today's the 17th. So in the VA4 community, the community of VA4, they're going to kick off their heritage and history exhibition, which would be really interesting for the community. Today, the 17th of February, so from the 17th to the 21st, Live Art Live Art at the Constitution Park, that is set to kick off. So that should be very interesting, and that should inculcate, from my understanding, various art forms. So from now until the 21st, we should see quite a hive of activity at Constitution Park. So if you're heading in that vicinity, be sure to check it out, as well as the book launch, the McDonald Dixon book launch, taking place at the National Cultural Center this evening. That should be a good one as well, and I believe that will be virtually, and so you can take in snippets of that.
Yes, that's always exciting too. The creativity of our people, Homer, coming front and center, as always, at Independence Time. And that's why it's one of my favorite times of the year, just to be able to appreciate the level of talent that we have in St. Lucia. And now, amidst all of that, Homer, just to remind individuals that while we are indeed celebrating some of the activities, it's a hybrid. You have some in-person, you're going to have the virtual. Just continue to follow what those protocols are that are set out so that you can continue to remain safe against COVID-19. And, there's always a level of risk no matter what we do. That's the virtue of, viruses and that sort of thing. The immunization manager within the Ministry of Health, Ms. Tekla Jabatis, released a statement regarding COVID vaccines and variants, because there has been a raging debate on that and whether vaccination creates variants and things of that sort. But Ms. Tekla Jabatis addresses some of the concerns about that and looking at what the science has to say with regard to COVID vaccines and variants.
The pandemic is still raging, and COVID-19 continues to affect the population. We should be vigilant and maintain the public health measures that the Ministry of Health have recommended. While we have documented a decline in the number of reported cases during this current wave, we must continue to adhere to protocols, including vaccination, as the most effective strategy. Viruses mutate, resulting in the emergence of more transmissible variants as demonstrated by SARS-CoV-2 virus, which causes COVID-19. More alarmingly, we expect COVID-19 disease to be associated with the development of newer variants. What we know is that the more unvaccinated persons we have in our population, the more likely it is for variants to reproduce and spread. Why? Unvaccinated people have less protection against COVID-19, thereby allowing more of the virus to multiply in them if they become infected. On the contrary, the vaccinated person has a level of immunity which creates a hostile environment for the virus to multiply, thus protecting the community from developing severe disease. There is still a lot to learn about how variants adversely affect vaccinated persons. During this wave, we noted more people who were vaccinated becoming infected, referred to as breakthrough infections. However, symptoms were generally mild, were of shorter duration, or in many cases, asymptomatic. COVID-19 vaccines are highly effective and provide significant levels of protection, ranging from less infection, decreased severe disease, minimal hospitalizations and deaths. Some people who are vaccinated may be infected because vaccines are not 100% effective. Consequently, it is of utmost importance to continue practicing public health measures even after a person is vaccinated. Therefore, it is important and prudent for the eligible population to get vaccinated, which covers the first, second, or booster dose. Fighting the COVID-19 pandemic has proven to be a challenge for all of us, but we must keep up the fight and remain resolute. The Ministry of Health encourages everyone, especially the youth, to get vaccinated. Presently in St. Lucia, we are progressing towards the procurement of vaccines for children 5 to 11 years. The hope is that as soon as the pediatric vaccines are available, it will be administered in St. Lucia. St. Lucia's vaccination coverage as of February 14th, 2022 is 28.5%, very far from achieving the 70% milestone. This milestone can only be achieved by widespread acceptance of the COVID-19 vaccines. Let us all take a personal responsibility. Get vaccinated to protect ourselves, loved ones, and the general population.
The immunization manager within the Ministry of Health, Wellness and Elderly Affairs, Ms. Tekla Jabatis there, speaking to us about COVID-19 vaccines and the variants. And we now know, Homer, that Omicron is dominant. It's not as virulent as the Delta was, but while we have people quickly recovering and it doesn't create that sort of overwhelming effect on health systems, but it is certainly, in terms of transmissibility, it is highly transmissible, but we have the majority of individuals being able to go through that, not being seriously ill, more so those who are vaccinated. So that speaks to the importance of vaccination there. We still want to be on the health front, and Cuba, and that is a country that has been alongside St. Lucia, the rest of the Caribbean, especially in the field of medicine. And St. Lucia and Cuba continue to improve, strengthen the cooperation in the area of health. And we brought up to speed on that by Fennell Neptune.
The Cuban ambassador to St. Lucia, His Excellency Bernardo Toscano Sardinez, recently paid a courtesy call on the Chief Medical Officer, Dr. Sharon Belma George. The visit provided an opportunity to review and discuss ways to enhance the cooperation between St. Lucia and Cuba in the area of health. His Excellency Bernardo Toscano Sardinez spoke on the need to continue strengthening the bilateral ties between the two countries.
We have here a Cuban medical brigade who works in all the areas of the island. We have a number of doctors, nurses, and other professional workers or health workers that they are working together with the doctor nurses here in St. Lucia. And for us, it's very important to have that possibility to exchange daily about the possibility to improve and to strengthen this collaboration in the healthcare programs.
Dr. Sharon Belma George says this visit is timely and expressed gratitude to the Cuban government for their continued support and contribution towards the health of the nation.
As we are aware, the Cuban system has been an integral part of our healthcare system in terms of support for training health professionals and also providing us with specialty care in various aspects of healthcare, not just for physicians, but nurses, pharmacists, etc. within the system. So we were able to discuss how we strengthen that collaboration moving forward, and also looking for new ways that we can learn and get support from the Cuban system.
Dr. Belma George says the courtesy visit also provided them with the avenue to engage in discussions on new developments in Cuba relating to healthcare, such as the vaccines. Reporting from the Communications Unit of the Ministry of Health, Wellness and Elderly Affairs, I am Fennel Neptune.
All right.
And the Cuban ambassador speaking with our Chief Medical Officer, Dr. Sharon Belmont George. And then, over the years, we've had our St. Lucians receive the scholarships. That has been one of the most important things in terms of the development of St. Lucia in the health sector, public health sector. And we've had Dr. Merle Clark, and she so often proudly says that she is a product of the Cuban health system. And there's so many others join that long queue of St. Lucians who've studied there and been able to return and contribute to St. Lucia.
And, earlier we were talking about, the linkages that we create and the partnerships that we create. And that is definitely a great example of one of such partnerships, because Cuba, do have the the know-how when it comes to medicine. They're ahead of the field, and so the fact that we can benefit from it and have that opportunity to develop our people, I think is great, and it's wonderful to see that we're improving and strengthening that cooperation in the area of health. Just talking about improvements and accomplishments we have on the education front. A virtual spelling quiz took place at the Cashews Comprehensive Secondary School, which is actually my alma mater. Yes, that ended with 2 first place winners, which is quite interesting. I think if I were to take part in competition, I'd have a problem with that. The tiebreaker, please. But it's good to see. It's good to see.
You don't like sharing.
Tiebreaker, please. Tiebreaker. But it's good to see that those quizzes taking place, and I think it's always great for our students to be able to participate in such. Chris Satney has the details on the prize-giving ceremony held at the Cashews Comprehensive School on Monday. So let's take that one in.
The Cashews Comprehensive is not letting the hurdles created by the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic to deter it from engaging students into meaningful activity to encourage, inspire, and spur excitement amidst the known challenges. Principal of the CCSS, Maverick Daniel, says the school attempted to make the method fun for students despite the spelling quiz being held online. Although the process came with its own challenges, the principal is thankful for the successful conclusion.
So many students found this very exciting and very educational as the words were presented to them, and last season's words were presented by class of 2021. And emerging out of this activity are these two students who had a tiebreaker, and even after the tiebreaker, they still continued to maintain their position as the top spellers at our school.
Scott Alsey and Adria Sefrin proved themselves formidable, and although only one prize was allocated for the winner, the school sought to provide 2 equal prizes to the winners. Ms. Daniel says the activity is one which the school will continue to hold, as she says spelling helps students in their overall educational development.
And we know that spelling has been an issue for students from grade 2, grade 4, Common Entrance, CXC. We see this as an issue because of, the many quick ways that students have access to writing, and so they're not challenged to know how to really spell. So we have these students, and the tiebreaker was for the word kaleidoscope, which we found was both an optical and a musical instrument, and spelled differently. So our students here will be rewarded.
Rambali's funeral parlor generously provided a laptop, while Flo sponsored a cell phone to the winners. The school provided cash prizes of $200 each to the 2 students, as well as a certificate of participation.
I'm very elated to be here as a student of Castries Comprehensive Secondary School. I am one of the winners of this spelling bee, and I'm proud to say that. I'm very thankful for this opportunity that was given.
Very happy to know that there wasn't only one winner, but 2, and it wasn't only 2 females or 2 males, but 1 female and 1 male. And normally people tend to think like girls are more articulate than boys, but I'm glad that Scott got the opportunity to show boys that not only girls can do what everyone else can do.
The activity is endorsed by the Students' Council of the Castries Comprehensive Secondary School, and its PRO, Akela Xavier, encourages more students from the school to participate in activities of this nature.
I just want to express my gratitude and just like to commend these students on how brave they are, because, not many students would go up and partake in educational activities. So I'd really like to thank them and express how happy I am for them.
The Castries Comprehensive Secondary School will this year celebrate 48 years since being constructed and handed over to the government and the people of St. Lucia by the Canadian government. From the Communications Unit of the Ministry of Education, Sustainable Development, Innovation, Science, Technology, and Vocational Training, I am Chris Sackney reporting.
And that was Chris Sadney there bringing us up to speed with the prize-giving ceremony at the Castries Comprehensive Secondary School after their virtual spelling quiz. And Lisa is a tiebreaker, but there was a tiebreaker. And even after the tiebreaker, we still saw that these 2 students were determined to get that first place prize. So we're saying congratulations to our winners and very well done. And congratulations also to the Castries Comprehensive Secondary School, keeping the students engaged, even despite, the COVID-19 challenges that, our schools are currently facing.
And nothing really invigorates a student more than a good challenge.
True.
And so I'm happy that, as you say, Homer, that they've been stimulated for them to really find interest. We know that spelling, reading, the English language has, over the years taken a beating at the CXC level. We're seeing now that the quality of work is improving on the English language front. Mathematics is still a bit problematic, but certainly English language and literature it's in a rebound. So and I'm excited about that as a arts girl myself. So with literature, reading, I mean, it's the most fantastic thing anyone can do for themselves. I'm still into the sort of hard copy thing. I think you are so connected when you can pick up your
prefer
book,
the book in your hand
and go through. There's something very therapeutic, lethargic about this, and that you pick that page up and then you can really immerse yourself in that story. I mean, I have imagined myself to be so many characters over my years of life. You know, you just put me in a scene there with running through a forest and all of this. Oh, absolutely, I am that person.
I can relate, Lisa. You see, the thing about it is I think I'm more audio. So when I discovered audiobooks, that's way to pick up a book. I've always loved having somebody tell me stories. So I love the stories, and like you, I get very consumed, immersed in the story. But I like audio and having somebody read to me. However, I have to agree with you on the point of the development aspect of actually picking the book up and reading for yourself. I had to get into the practice, especially when I just started out in media. I think that's one of the things that really did help me develop not only with my fluency in speaking, but help with my writing as well, to a great extent. Just picking the book up and actually reading, although I had to be encouraged to, just step away from the audiobooks for a little while. But yes, I think it's something that is a great thing that any individual can do for themselves. Indeed, whether or not you like it, one of the great tips that I've gotten is read something that you would enjoy. So it doesn't,
absolutely,
yeah, exactly.
Yes.
It doesn't have to be anything intellectual, these self-help books. Read something that you would enjoy, and even that you'd get the benefits from too.
Yeah, because the whole point is for that stimulation to take place. And once you begin with things that interest you, then your curiosity is awakened.
Right.
And now you really want to read things, discover things. And the world of reading, wow, it really does open you up to a lot of things.
Lisa, you sound like these people that just have these libraries of books. Or you say to Lisa, Lisa, I'm reading this book about this author. And she goes, yes, that.
Yes.
That's what you sound like.
Well, if you think I am that person, let me introduce you to Primus Hutchinson.
Oh my.
So Primus and I would often have some conversations, about books and authors, and really talk about the storylines, and there is a lot of value to those stories as well, because you can pick up life lessons along the way and that sort of thing. So it's very important, and it's exceedingly important, especially for our students, for critical thinking.
True.
And it's essential for our students to be able to discern, and because that is what's going to create that well-roundedness as a student later on, as an active citizen and so forth. So, I can go on and on about that, but we perhaps will save that when reading month comes around, because, May is reading month. And so we want to acknowledge the team that works really hard over the Ministry of Education dealing with that. So May is not around the corner. After all, February is near its end.
Nearing its end. And I have to say, February went by quite quickly.
It was a dash.
Yeah, exactly.
It was an absolute dash. But as you said, we started off talking about the independence celebrations and some of the activities. Now, tomorrow, Friday, the 18th of February, the ecumenical service really now kicks off that sort of home stretch, if you will, for independence.
You're very right, Lisa. So we do have the ecumenical service taking place at the Minor Basilica of the Immaculate Conception. Due to seating, we will see the virtual aspect of that as well. Tomorrow is also National Colors Day. Yes, so we are expecting to see persons or people rather island-wide getting decked out in their independence colors, and hopefully, Lisa, you and I can coordinate and see what we could wear. You see, if you wear the blue and the white, I can wear the black and the yellow. We'll make the flag together.
Yeah, together. Okay, together we'll make. Okay, no problem. I lean heavily on your design style, so I'm going to lean heavily on that, and and trust your judgment there. But also, the ecumenical service is live, so we won't be at our scheduled time with you on Friday.
True.
So that you can enjoy the ecumenical service. We are here Monday, so are we going to still have a Colors Day Friday
and then
do it again on Monday? What do you think? That sounds like a plan, doesn't it? She says it's a discussion. A discussion. Then in that case, we can. We shall talk. But take us through to the rest of the activities into the weekend.
Surely. So we see the St. Lucia Suite taking place at Royalton. So Royalton also celebrating St. Lucia's independence. Right here, Island Scholars, where are they now? That's going to be aired on the National Television Network, and that should be very interesting, and that you could join us on channel 122.4. You could also always check out our platforms, Facebook, as well as our YouTube page for that. Friday, the 19th of February. The 19th of February to Saturday, we see the launch of Blessed Youth Ministry. That's at Labi SDA Church, a part of our independence activities. Within various communities, on the 20th is a day of praise and worship. So we'll see our communities coming together to celebrate and to give praise and thanks for the fact that, we've seen our 43rd anniversary and for the development of our nation on a whole as well. From the 20th to the 22nd, the Banana Festival at the Anglican School Annex, which should be also an interesting activity. One of the things that was very deliberate this year is to ensure that that the agricultural sector was heavily included in our independence celebrations. We see Helen's daughters taking taking the lead in some of the activities involving our agricultural sector. So that's part of that. In addition to that, the St. Lucia Showcase, My Island Home. So St. Lucia's independence will be celebrated in Dubai, and we've seen the contingent of some of our artists being mentioned, including Ezra the Fun Machine, Afa Ale, who's a 6-time Groovy Monarch. We see also some of our dancers being a part of it. For example, Raquel Dublé.
It's a Raquel John.
No, it's not Raquel John. I'll get her name, but she's one of our dancers, and she's going to be a part of it as well. So we have a number of our artists heading over to Dubai. Also, we have the launch of Prime Minister's pitch competition taking place. We have on the 22nd of February, the end of the Independence Baton at Point Seraphim, which will be quite nice. The military parade being a part of it, the SAB in VG. We have our national extravaganza taking place, and we're going to be bringing that to you on the National Television Network. And the military parade, we should say that's a display that's going to be taking place. We're also
It'll scale down for this year, of course, due to COVID-19.
Yes, exactly. On the 23rd, we have the opening of the Interpretation Center that is at Pigeon Island National Landmark, and the Independence Lecture, we're going to be bringing that to you on the National Television Network as well on the 23rd. So we see our calendar going well past. On the 24th, the launch of DigiGov at the Financial Center. I think that's one of the things that we've been waiting for just outside of Independence as well, just to see a lot of the services that's offered within the public sector on that online platform. So we're going to see that. Also taking place on the 24th is I Am Lucia, a webinar series taking place virtually. We are speaking about one of the activities that Helen's Daughters is bringing to us, and that's Nourishing Helen, which is kind of a food series using St. Lucian products, strictly St. Lucian products, to create foods that we may not necessarily think of using our products for. And so that's going to be taking place on Choice Television at 9 p.m. On the 24th. On February 25th, political participation of women in St. Lucia virtually, right here at the National Television Network. We're going to be bringing that to you. Also, challenges and opportunities, also here on our calendar. In the Eyes of Farm Her, and that is taking place at Folati Sab. That should be interesting as well. On the 26th, we know Legacy Double Glory. We did have Teddy Francis join us and give us the details on that. Also, we are expected to also see on our calendar National Sports Recognition, so recognizing our sportsmen and women in St. Lucia on the 3rd to the 5th of March. So we're heading over into March with our independence activities. We have poetry and Prosecco. That should be very, very interesting. Flock of Faves at Tapas on the Bay, and the National Independence Awards ceremony. We're going to be bringing that to you on the National Television Network on the 13th of March.
Right, so we have quite an extensive calendar there of activities for us to celebrate in all forms. You can pick and choose based on your individual preferences and taste. What is it that you want? Taste, because you know we have lots of foodie events included in there. So that's a very good thing. I'm excited to see how we can awaken St. Lucia's interest in that gastronomy. What is it that we can do with our local foods? So that would be interesting. I know that I'm always fascinated by Chef Orlando and how he can take the banana, for example, and really do so many things and turn it into so many gourmet things as well. So that is going to be quite an interesting thing to be able to sit back and watch, because as you know, Homer, I am one that I can critique the food, enjoy the food, but I don't know really about being able to get that food to, where everybody else is going to really say, delicious, yummy.
I was raised in a household with two really, really, really good chefs, so I'm capable, but I'm not at the point where I think they'll say, wow, I was the one who would wash the dishes to be able to eat first.
Right.
Yeah, that was me.
Yeah, but I'm happy, you understood that you could work, so that's a good thing. I'm happy about that, Irma. But, while we are celebrating all of these aspects, then we are seeing that COVID-19 is not keeping our spirits suppressed. So that's a good thing. And also that our tourism industry, which, by the way, the idea of being able to develop that, our gastronomy and that sort of thing, and have people come and enjoy our local foods and whatever, speaks to the whole development of our tourism industry as well, being able to sustain that and take it to new levels. Recently, Tourism Minister, Honorable Dr. Ernest Hilaire, did participate in a Caribbean Tourism Organization, CTO, virtual conference. And he was one of the presenting ministers with regard to the local tourism product, the developments that are happening there, the positive growth that we have realized despite COVID-19. We want to take in a bit of that, the minister's presentation to the CTO virtual conference.
Good morning to the CTO team and all the representatives of the media joining us on this press briefing today. As we navigate the ever-changing pandemic, we continue to rely on you our partners from the Caribbean, the United States, Canada, the UK, and beyond, to tell the tourism stories about St. Lucia and the entire Caribbean region. As you may have already heard, effective 1st February 2022, our new CEO of the St. Lucia Tourism Authority, Mrs. Lauren Charles St. Jules, a seasoned and proven tourism professional, is charged with leading the marketing and development of our tourism industry. I ask that you join me in wishing her the absolute best. Today, I will share our developments on 1, St. Lucia's 2021 tourism rebound, 2, our evolving response to COVID, 3, access by air and sea, and 4, new tourism developments from across the island. Tourism accounts for more than 40% of our GDP. It is extremely important to the St. Lucian economy. Directly, it contributes about 21%. Only a few months ago, the world wondered how the tourism industry would survive the COVID pandemic. Today, I assure you, our partners, that St. Lucia's tourism industry is flourishing once again. We continue to respond to the uncertainty of the marketplace with clear and consistent communications to our stakeholders, the travel trade, and our visitors. We communicated that as a premier destination, St. Lucia has some of the most diverse experiences in the Caribbean. And when paired with confidence in our safety protocols, these factors help to continue and to drive business when restrictions in international markets were eased, and especially when the colder weather arrived in those regions. In 2021, we welcomed 52% more visitors than in 2020, with the US alone contributing 76% of visitors. Visitor arrivals from the US from July to December were higher than the recorded benchmark figures of 2019. St. Lucia recorded 199,347 stayover arrivals in 2021. 76.4% were from the United States, 16.4% from the UK. The Caribbean contributed 2.8%, and Canada contributed 2.5% of visitor arrivals. The remaining 2% came from emerging and other markets. December recorded the largest number of arrivals for the year, 29,747, as we continue to welcome flights from all our key markets. This has served as a great economic impact for us in St. Lucia, even as there are more visitors, visitor spend picks up, and that helps our communities to benefit from the financial recovery from the pandemic. Navigating through 2020 better prepared us for 2021. We remain committed to coexist with COVID, and we knew we had to be nimble and respond to evolving developments. Changes in international protocols, the introduction of vaccines, and fluctuations in the US, Canada, and UK had us adjusting our safety protocols, marketing, and development decisions. We were strongly equipped in our response measures, driven by our Ministry of Health and the intelligence gathered by the local and international health professionals. We also introduced eased but safe protocols for vaccinated travelers, which allowed visitors to enjoy more of St. Lucia from the moment of arrival. As of January 2022, more than 90% of our arriving visitors are vaccinated. This adds an additional measure of safety to our visitors and residents. And more than 90% of our hotel and villa staff across the island are vaccinated, with some hotels reporting 100% vaccination rates for staff. We have continued to enhance our social media presence as a critical component of our consumer communications. On February the 1st, we tapped into another social media platform by launching the destination's new official TikTok handle, with trip giveaways celebrating the launch, as well as engaging TikToks from influencers who recently visited the island. We added what we call follow along at Travel St. Lucia, all one word, for captivating videos, highlights of our signature experiences, and of course, surprise dance routines and views of the pitons. News from the sea and air. No destination can move forward without a sustained airline strategy. The US has remained our primary inbound market, and we were thrilled to welcome back flights from our other key regions like Canada and the United Kingdom. These markets have varied operating periods due to travel restrictions throughout the year. From the US, and in particular from last summer, flights from New York tripled, with new routes introduced from New York JFK on American Airlines and from Newark on JetBlue. American Airlines also began non-stop service from Dallas to St. Lucia. Demand from Philadelphia was so strong that American Airlines extended its seasonal non-stop flight through August for the first time ever. In total, St. Lucia added 20,000 new air seats from the US in 2021. American Airlines, Delta, JetBlue, and United Airlines all have non-stop flights from major US gateways, including New York, New Jersey, Boston, Philadelphia, Chicago, Miami, Atlanta, Charlotte, and Dallas. And in Canada, all Canadian airline services in St. Lucia have resumed service for this winter and spring, and in some instances, through to the summer. Sunwing Airlines returned in January with new non-stop services from Toronto. The additional air service providers provides Canadians with more viable options to visit St. Lucia, with direct flights from Toronto on Air Canada operating 3 weekly flights, Sunwing operating on Saturdays, and WestJet operating on Sundays. The United Kingdom market is back. UK visitor arrivals are strong, with a positive end to 2021, more than 8,000 visitors in December 2021. Momentum continued in January, with numbers for 2022 taking 34% share of markets. Support from our airline partners is growing in the UK. Virgin Airways returned in December and now has 3 direct flights a week from London Heathrow. British Airways has had on a number of days 2 flights from London landing back to back. British Airways also reintroduced tag flights with 3 of the 7 weekly direct flights connecting onto Port of Spain, Trinidad, which will help our regional travel. St. Lucia's overall presence in the UK is significant, including TV advertising, joint marketing with our airline partners, travel trade training, and the reintroduction of farm trips. The invaluable cruise sector resumed in June 2021, and our numbers keep growing month over month. Total arrivals were 93,610. Total port calls were 134. In December alone, we had 74 port calls. Our health team continues to work with the cruise lines to ensure that our protocols are met, especially as the dynamics and regulations change. So here is what's happening on island. With the growing demand for St. Lucia, increasing the accommodation and attraction sector is an integral part of our development. Local entrepreneurs and international developments are fueling growth in our product. Looking to the future, several international brands have committed to St. Lucia. Cabot St. Lucia is well underway on Point Hardy in the north. Cabot St. Lucia will provide a golf course, luxury condos, and amenities to be open later next year, and later a 40-suite hotel to complement. A Courtyard Marriott Hotel is scheduled for completion in 2023 at Point Seraphine in Castries, adjacent to the duty-free shopping complex. Hyatt Corporation will build a 345-room luxury Grand Hyatt, which is expected to open on the southwestern corner of the island in Strozel with views of the Piton. St. Lucia Canals Resort is a luxury resort that will feature 2 distinct hotel brands, Dreams and Secrets, managed by AM Resorts. We are also expecting an additional Zoe Tree resort by AM Resorts. Then there is the 120-suite Casa Bar Beach Resort, which will soon announce its international brand partner, expected to open by the end of 2022. There are other branded hotels awaiting planning approval to be announced very soon. The COVID pandemic has allowed us to rethink and re-engineer our industry, and we are responding to consumer interest in a wider spectrum of accommodation types to suit today's travelers. A new umbrella tourism program will give small-size accommodations like boutique properties, villas, inns, and B&Bs greater international exposure and opportunities. The name and scope of the program will be launched shortly. We are excited about the upcoming launch of the Community Tourism Project, a reinvigorating program that highlights authentic experiences. The project will seek to increase the players in the tourism industry and add more industry owners. Sports tourism is returning. In June, we will welcome back the International Masters Football Invitational Tournament with over 20 teams from Canada, the United States, and the Caribbean. And in case you haven't heard, we recently announced major event news. After a 2-year hiatus, St. Lucia Carnival will return with a safe and responsible approach in July 2022. This year's festivities will be dubbed the Vax Mass. The word mass is short for masquerade, a homage to our vibrant masquerade costumes on full display during Carnival festivities. As a Carnival enthusiast and reveler, I personally invite you to join me. More information will be available as details evolve. In closing, St. Lucia inspires visitors. We have a diverse and authentic dining experience like world's famous Orlando's. The nature travelers are seeking like the rainforests, the mud baths, and our beloved Pitos, and truly one-of-a-kind resorts. A welcoming people, in addition to more beaches than you could ever see on one vacation. Our hotels and vacations and attractions are so creative when developing holidays for niches like diving, weddings, honeymoons, and family travel. We will continue to share all our news developments with the press throughout 2022. I again extend a warm welcome to you, the Caribbean Tourism Organization, and all the media present today. Mr. Johnson John Rose, I will pass the virtual mic over to you.
Thank you very much, Minister. And before I pose the question, well, here's another one. Will you please make sure I receive your presentation as soon as possible so I can share with everyone, yeah? Okay.
All right there, so that was our Tourism Minister, Honorable Dr. Ernest Hilaire, participating there, as I said, in the virtual press conference for the Caribbean Tourism Organization, the CTO, the first for the year, and giving St. Lucia a very detailed analysis and a total picture of what has been happening with us tourism-wise, and certainly exciting developments there. St. Lucia, as I said, being able to hold its own during the pandemic, and certainly that's going to serve us in good stead moving forward post pandemic as the world begins to want to travel again. That St. Lucia is top of mind. And St. Lucia is a destination, and the minister said it there, that, you know, not only do we have these wonderful attractions, the beauty of the island itself sells itself, but the people, and this is what we celebrate in all of February, the people of St. Lucia. Absolutely. And you hear visitors say that all the time, that they can go to many countries around the world and get the stunning views and so forth, but it's always the people that have them coming back.
That is very true, Lisa. And speaking of our Tourism Minister, speaking at the launch of Independence, he did give us a bit of an update as to how, you know, we were doing in Expo Dubai, and that's one of the things that he mentioned. Visitors to St. Lucia's Pavilion were just really intrigued by our people, by our culture, and some of the products that we have available. For example, the Barron's banana ketchup and the sea moss, he said, were really, really well received. And of course, he was speaking and looking forward to our celebrations in Dubai. And I actually found the list quite a healthy contingent of our artists who are going to be there. So we have dancers, 8 dancers who are going to go up. Anderson Lacha, we have Brandon Silly, Claire, Marisa Smart going to be there, Nicole St. Croix, Roxanne Didi, Nicholas, the name I was looking for, Timikwa de Tourville, we have Mishma Anderson and Stuart St. Edward going to be there. We have the percussionist Jamali Daisy going to be joining the contingent in Dubai, vocalist Stefian St. Clair a very, very talented young lady. We also have Venetia's Florenville, who's going to be the keyboardist. The pan player Shazi, also he graced us with at the launch of Independence. He's going to be at Expo Dubai. So we also have Denry Segments artists who are going to be going up as well. Ampan Summons would be the two joining the contingent in Dubai. Our soca artists, like I mentioned, Afa Ale, as well as Ezra the Fun Machine, going to be there. Spoken word artist Kamaya Lizette, also very talented St. Lucian, and she her work focuses around St. Lucia very, very heavily. So that should be very nice. We have DJs, DJ Earthquake, who is Khalid Vidal, as well as Hyper D, who are going to be up in Dubai as well. And just on the creative aspect, creative director was Trevor King. So you know you can expect quite a great show. We had the fashion designer Marshall Celestin with the brand NGU Clothing being a part of that. Chef Elijah Jules and Jalim Yudovic is a sculptor who's going to be a part of the contingent in Dubai. So that is again taking place, and we will be, I believe, virtually. There will be snippets of the celebrations taking place in Dubai. So that's the one that you can, of course, look out for, and that's between the 20th and the 22nd of February, taking place at Expo Dubai 2020.
Wonderful that our performing artists as well as a visual artist are getting to participate in that, and just sort of putting the icing on the cake of what the Dubai Expo has been able to enjoy for the last 6 months, because the Expo is on
nearing
for 6
its
months. Right, and so for that grand finale, that St. Lucia would be able to invigorate the place with its culture. I'm sure it's going to be an exciting time for the performers and the entire St. Lucia contingent, but also just imagine how exciting it is for the nationals of Dubai, also because it's open up to the world, other countries where perhaps they've not been able to experience anything like what St. Lucia has to offer. And then I can say that it's going to be hot up in there.
Yes, very excited about it, and I do wish our performers the very, very best as they go on to represent St. Lucia with that.
And they are the best. They are the best of
yes,
St. Lucia,
I would say so.
They are in the creme de la creme.
Yes, indeed.
So we're excited about that. So, Homa, we want to be able to say, well, since we're not here tomorrow, we want to say Happy Colors Day, that we're not live with you, but we are watching. And certainly, if I know that we can do nothing without posting these days, so, Homa, we will be scrolling through to see what some of those fashion ideas are for National Colors Day, and we will be happy to give a sort of a full review. Should we have a fashion critic corner on Monday? And on Monday we are scheduled to speak with our dear people over at DigiGov as well. You did mention that there will be the launch.
Yes.
And so we scheduled to have a nice little conversation before that launch. And so perhaps we can put in a little fashion critic corner there, looking back at Colors Day, if you will.
See.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. It will be fun. It will be fun. We want to thank you so much for spending the time with us this morning. This has been the Morning Update with Lucia and Homa. See you next time.